This is Surgan. He's an Akhal-Teke horse, one of the rarest ancient breeds in the world today. He has had quite a journey to get to this particular round pen on this particular day. I'm going to tell you some of Surgan's backstory, and we're going to look at where he is now and where we might be able to go together. So stick around to hear a compelling story of a horse that was very misunderstood and could have certainly given up on humans, that found his way back home to a human who was looking for just what he might have to offer. Surgan's early life was as a stud colt on Shenandoah Farm around Stanton, Virginia, and Shenandoah Farm was one of the earliest Akhal-Teke operations in the U.S. Well, when the owners died, they had made provision that many of the horses would roll into what is now the Akhal-Teke Foundation to preserve the breed. And while many of the horses went to their headquarters, Surgan actually went on lease down to Florida to work with a trainer. Unfortunately, while he was with the trainer, his disposition and behavior changed from a pretty nice little stallion to one that was volatile and borderline dangerous. And at the time, the trainer's only recourse, they thought, was to try gelding him. Maybe he just really wasn't going to be a reliable stallion, and they felt enough concern for the safety of those working with him that became the best option. Unfortunately, when he recovered from that surgery, his behavior did not improve, and then it became time to dig a little bit deeper. It turns out this poor little guy had a terrible worm infestation that ended up being very painful while he had it, and that was likely the real reason behind the behavior change. So once he was treated for that, his disposition did come back to being that great horse that people really enjoyed. And so he ended up in another training program where, is my understanding, he did some arena work, dressage mostly, possibly some showing, and occasional trail rides, and was beloved by those who got a chance to interact with him. In time, it became more clear to the trainer working with him that he really didn't love arena work, and her thought was his trail rides were where he really came alive. So she got back in touch with the Akhal-Teke Foundation and asked, did they think if she had him sent back, would somebody consider a different job for him, like possibly endurance riding? Well, it just so happens that I am working with many of the horses at the foundation, and my favorite sport is endurance riding. And my current mare, who is just about a decade team horse and has been in the sport almost 12 years now, is possibly coming to a slowdown in her career. So I've been thinking about looking for a horse that could be a better fit. Quite beautifully, the timing has worked out well that this horse might be needing a new job and this human might be needing a new horse. So if things go well, the idea is to try him out in endurance and see if it's a good fit for him and if we're a good fit for each other. So what do we do with this guy now that he's arrived? Well, the first couple of weeks, I simply went in to just get my hands on him and see how he interacts and let him settle in. This is a huge transition for a horse, and I think it does a disservice for us not to acknowledge that. So the next steps for me, is everybody that knows me will not be surprised, is I need to see what his mental state is like. Endurance rides can be high adrenaline, and I need to check in with this guy and see when he's got a strong thought and a lot of adrenaline around him. If I need him to come back and check in with me, is he available? So the first step, you'll see in this video, we're going to show the Gauntlet, and that's this little hallway road between some fields with different horses along the way, where he's going to be challenged to walk with me, even though there's horses on either side vying for his attention. And the question in that Gauntlet is, can you let go of those draws or those thoughts, and can you come back and stay with me? Because again, when I'm riding him, I'm going to need to know that that works. I'd way rather find this out on the ground. How flexible is he mentally? Can he let go of that stuff and come back to me? And I just don't know how he was worked with before and if he's had to do much of that. So in endurance, he's really going to need to be able to come back mentally so that we don't end up getting killed in the chaos melee of a ride start where there's a lot happening. The second thing we're gonna do in this video is I take him up for the first time into the round pen. And in that round pen, I'm gonna get a chance to just take all the equipment off and get the truth from this horse of how available is he. So first, he's without his friends and buddies for comfort. Second, there's some mares in the adjoining field, so they're gonna be distracting. Third, there's some grass in there. So the question becomes, when all of these things seek your attention, can you let them go and choose me? So I need to know, when there's all these things vying for his attention, and he's at a new space that he's never been in before, can he let those things go and find me for direction and comfort and safety?
He's actually doing great walking down this Gauntlet hallway. Until we get close to the end, I think he gets worried about what's past that hallway ending. So we get stuck and my flag goes into play, not to drive him obviously, but to get him unstuck and move forward again. I don't plan to take him into that next section beyond us. That's where we've got a stallion living, and it would just be a lot that we don't need to get into. So my plan was only to go this far, but he didn't quite know what my plan was. Now here, he really doesn't want to go into that next area where that stallion is staying and leave his friends and safe place behind. And so this becomes a bit challenging for him. And all I'm looking for is for him to be able to trust me enough to follow my instruction, which is walk a circle in the direction that I ask around me, nice and calmly, without being so distracted by the concerns in his mind that he can't follow the instructions. I don't need to drive him on the circle. My hand and the feel on the lead rope is inviting him to take that circle on, and I'll wait, but the flag is there to keep him from pushing into me. He's so concerned about not going forward that space there, he kind of squishes me with an oval instead of a nice circle because he is trying so hard not to go just even in a appropriate circle around me. You can see he's resistant right there. So I'm being very cautious to know that he may smash in on me, which he did a little, but enough that it wasn't particularly dangerous, and then we can improve it from there. Far from perfect, still it was a good step in the right direction. So I give him a moment here as a sweet spot, and then we're gonna ask again. When he can just calmly walk a circle around me down here at the edge of where these pens are, that will tell me that he was able to let go of all the other distractions and fears, to pay attention to my request and be available to me, and to trust me that I'm not going to get him into trouble. And that's when we'll finish this little exercise and walk that gauntlet right back to where he can go with his friends. Here, there's just a lot of things to be distracted with, and I'm asking him to center up with me mentally before I even do another ask for him to walk a circle around me. I don't even want to start this if his mind is in too many different places. So first I'm asking him, can you get centered up with me? And now I do the invite to take a circle. I prefer not to drive a horse in a circle, and so here, even in our first couple interactions, he understands my invitation with the feel on the lead rope. This goes much better. He's a lot softer, and so then we can start our walk back down the gauntlet. Something good to check in with your horse is while you're in movement, can you reach out and touch the horse? If you can't, it's a great place to put a little time in. They should be just fine with you reaching out and touching them while you're walking, but many of them get pretty worried about it until they're used to it. He's doing great on the way back, and here I just go ahead and check in. Can you back up? Sometimes you think things are going great, but it's only because you and the horse have the same goal in mind. But if you were to stop and ask if you can adjust, maybe can we take a few steps back, this gets a little harder for him. And you can see there's a lot of reasons why. We've got Robbie on one side, pawing at the fence. We've got the little colts on the other side, wondering when he's coming back home. It's a lot for him to take in and keep me center of attention, but it's a great place to practice this. Overall, well done. I'm really pleased with how nicely he can take in all of that stuff and then come back and still...
This is Surgan. We are just getting to know each other. He's a gelding here at the Akhal-Teke Center. And right now, he's really interested in the mares in the adjoining field. So I'm using my flag to create a disruption that says, those mares are not going to give you peace. Do not chase after the mares. So I'm not chasing him directly, but I'm making it so that there's no peace in his little universe while he's too interested in those mares. And I'm trying to set up a bit of what we call a search to see if he'll, there it is. Just consider that checking in with me would be the peace option. Then he goes back to the mares, and I say no. Now, I'm not running him around because I know you can't see my flag, but it's just hitting the ground next to me. It's not aimed at him. There we go. I want to bond with this horse in a way that we might be able to do some stuff together. So what I'm trying to do is get him to realize that I am the source of good things and hopefully peace. There it is. Come on, buddy. Yeah. And I'm going to be patient to let him find me himself instead of force it into place. We have some time today to play with this. I'm not in a big hurry. Yes, good boy. Come on in. And that's what I want to see. Oh, almost. Now I'm going to back up. There we go. So he thought about coming in, which was beautiful. I'm not running him around. I'm just standing here offering peace. He doesn't have to run around. I'm not driving him. But he's not sure what to do, so that seems like a good option to try. While he's actively searching, I just wait. Yes. Oh. Come on, buddy. Now I'm actually going to back up just a little and create a little swipe with my flag to see if that'll draw him in. So he had a start, but he wasn't quite there. And if he gets too interested outside the pen, I just flap my flag. It's kind of like a not it, good boy. He's thinking about trying me. Not yet ready yet. Good. He's thinking, I like that, licking and chewing. This horse right now is searching for peace. And if he gets himself too outside the pen in his thinking, I'm going to make a pretty big interruption on that to say, nope, not it. And the more he thinks inside the pen, the more I'm going to stay with him and hope he'll come on in and choose me. Good boy. No, not out there. Not out there. Not out there. He looks beautiful moving. Nope. So I'm kind of waiting until he really is committed. So right while he's kind of running around and searching, I wait a little bit. But when he really seems committed outside the pen is when I really give him an interruption. That's starting to look a little committed. There we go. There it is. So I'm watching for how committed his mind is, outside or inside. And ideally with me, because when he comes to find me, I'll be his peace. And we can go back to his friends.
He's not as committed, but he's still thinking outside the pen. So my flag swipes are a little less. He's not really on autopilot. If he was just running circles and laps in here, I'd do something to interrupt it more. But he feels to me like he's still searching and thinking. See that jaw moving? So he'd like to find a different answer but me. See, that's when he's really committed. When he stands and he starts to stare, he gets really committed that outside this pen is where he'll find peace. That's when I get a little more active. Or when his head's really hanging out. You're beautiful, guy. Look at you. You're gonna be fun to ride. And this is probably not something he's ever had to do before, is find a human without being totally directed or driven around. See, when he gets that head outside the pen, that's really clear to me where he's thinking. Yep, slowed down near me, licking and chewing. Come on, you got this. Not the girls. Slowing down a little bit. Little flag swipe. No, that didn't do it. Still thinking. It's not them. Those girls sure think that he's the answer. I don't want you getting super involved with those girls. And this is beginning the work of interrupting a horse's thought. So his thought is, I'd really like to get involved with those girls over there. So when I'm riding him eventually, I'll be having to interrupt some thoughts of his, especially if he ever makes it to an endurance ride, where there's a lot of exciting things other than the human. Oh, could this be it? I like it. He's slowing down. It's a start. So sometimes a horse can get a pretty big reaction when you interrupt their thought. So I'd like to do that when I'm in a nice safe space here and just get him used to that. He can have a thought interrupted and be okay. Okay, well, I love it. He's thinking inside the pen to maybe eat. Still not the right answer, but it's a new answer. Sniffing poop, still not the right answer, but he's searching. Anytime he really starts going for those mares now, I want to be pretty clear pretty quick, that's not it. Poop is not it. I definitely rank higher than poop. This I know. He's thinking about it. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. What a good boy. Yeah, now let's go over and get the halter. Take you back to your friends. Good job. Good job. Yeah, you did it. Come on, buddy. Let's go. Yeah, he did great, actually. Love it.
really like this guy, and even though I don't know what the future will hold for us yet, it's a little too soon to tell, I think we're off to a good start. And there is the big guy back in his gelding paddock. Well, gelding and a couple little stud colts. Here we are. Good job today, buddy. Yeah, we're gonna have fun. What I do know is he is a horse worth getting to know. And he had a little bit of a rough start with humans, not understanding the pain he was in. But he's come through and has such a nice, willing personality and is still willing to give humans a chance and has been a really nice partner for some other people. So let's find out if endurance might be his thing. Let's find out if we might be a fit. And what's even more beautiful is even though a gelding may not really make sense for a breeding conservation operation, he still could have a pretty awesome job and at least represent the breed out there in the world doing some pretty cool stuff. And boy, I like the idea of being able to work with him on that. So stay tuned as we go forward and watch how his journey unfolds. As always, thank you for watching my videos, for subscribing, and for following the playlists for these different horses whose stories are threaded through the Hope Horsemanship package. If you want to get in touch, Jamie at Hope Horsemanship is the best way, and I'm always looking forward for people to ask me questions, join the community. I love talking about these things. It is my passion, and so let's stay in touch. Till next time, have a great day.